Hello, this is my first video in my channel, which is .NET Training Academy. So in this channel we are going to teach some tutorials and make some demonstrations on the new current technology which is .NET, and we all know that .NET is trending right now after the release of Visual Studio 2017 and the .NET Core, which supports on multi-platforms like Linux, Mac and Windows. So we are going to cover everything about the latest technologies and latest stuffs in .NET. So this is my first course and first video too in my channel, which is a .NET Framework Essential Training. So to introduce myself, I'm Raja Raman. I'm a full-stack .NET developer at Kickstart Solution Company. So this is the course topics. It is an essential training. So in the first module of this course, we are going to talk about and learn about Entity Framework Kickstart, and then we are going to dive deeper into the Entity Framework, which is how it works and ins and outs of Entity Framework. Then we are going to discuss about the relationship, how the database relationships like one-to-one, one-to-many, blah blah blah. And then we are going to talk about learn about managing the database, managing the transactions, and the new Entity Framework 7 and Entity Framework Core, which is introduced just recently. So this is the course topics. This is a very big series, so it will take up to more than a week. Obviously it takes, I don't know how much time exactly, but it is a big course. I'll try to make videos and publish in YouTube every day, as much as I can. But if I can't, I'm sorry. So this is the model overview. So in this course in this model we are going to talk about the architecture of Entity Framework and how the code first pattern, what do you say that I think it is a pattern which is called POCO, plain old class objects. And then generating Entity Framework classes. We are going to talk about these kind of stuff. Don't worry if you don't know about anything about these kind of stuff. Just sit, relax and watch, and I hope at the end of the series you'll get a good knowledge at Entity Framework. So the prerequisites for this course is, definitely you should know about C# programming language. You should know about the object-oriented concepts and the delegates, attributes, and asynchronous stuffs and generics and so on, all the complete C# programming language. And then the link is not essential, but it is recommended to have the knowledge about link. So the link is basically which acts as a language, which is a language integrated query. We can do some querying stuffs in our C# programming language itself. So that's the whole point about link. And you should know some about links. So the basic knowledge in .NET Framework, how the .NET Framework works and what are all the stuffs inside the .NET Framework, and then you should definitely have some knowledge about Visual Studio, which is really important to make your up and running in this course. So let's come to the point. What is Entity Framework? Entity Framework is an ORM, which means object-relational mapping. So what's an ORM? To be frank, it maps your database types to your code types, which means you can write your database stuffs in your own programming language. For example, you can create your own class, like a product. It will create a table in the database, and if you if you add some properties, it will create some fields in the table. So that's the ORM. It maps the relational stuffs, the relational objects. The object that you're creating is mapped and then created as a database. Created as a tables and relational stuffs. So you can clearly avoid some repetitive data access code, like you can clearly avoid repeating of queries and repeating of SQL queries. So you can use the reason that you are using ORM is to avoid try, which means don't repeat yourself, and you can have a clear understanding of what you're doing, your productivity increases, and blah blah blah. There's a lot of advantages on using ORM, and there are a lot of ORM stuffs in other languages, like in .NET also there are some other ORM like nhibernate, and there are many, and in Java there is something like hibernate, but in C# and also in .NET, Entity Framework is the only best choice you can use. So this is the concept. I hope you will clearly understand right now. So you can create a customer class in C#. It will directly convert it into a table. Whatever the fields, whatever the properties that you're adding, it will be directly applied into your database table. So this is the concept. If you can also relate your customer and customer info that you can do just in relational database, you can do that in your relational objects, which is in object-oriented way. So which is really fascinating and insane feature that ORM provides to us. So these are the stuffs, and these are the areas that we can use Entity Framework, like in web forms, ASP.NET Web Forms, MVC, Windows Presentation, and then we can also use that in WCF, Web APIs, Web Forms, and obviously we can, sorry for the trouble, I just used the Web Forms twice. And then we can also use Azure Table Storage, Redis, Mono, Mac, Linux. We can use that in every platform. And these are all the database companies which supports Entity Frameworks, which are MySQL, Sybase, Oracle, SQLite, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server is the most popular for Entity Framework. And IBM, these are the companies which supports Entity Framework. If there is some database which doesn't support Entity Framework, there are a lot of plugins in the NuGet, and though the Entity Framework is open source, you can go ahead and purchase or go ahead and use that plugins and make use of Entity Framework for your database. So some supported features of ORM is Entity Framework is a full form to map objects to code, and you can map whatever stuff that you can do in creating and manipulating with the queries, SQL stuffs. So we can also use async queries. If you know about the C# programming language and also about the link, you definitely know about async. And then it is a connection resiliency, which means if you know about Ado.NET, it is something like a non-connection, disconnection. It will connect and then it will automatically disconnect kind of stuffs. If you wanted to know more about those kind of stuffs, you can go ahead and Google and search about the connection resiliency, and in Ado.NET you have that feature, and it is a stored procedure mapping, like as always. It is a reverse engineering existing database, which means we can create a class code first and then database second. So using code to create a database, so it is a code first And we can also use concurrency detection, enum, spatial data supports. There are a lot of features we can use in NuGet framework. So this is very few of them, but obviously there is more. So this is the high-level overview of entity framework. It will link to entities, which means the objects, and then convert to query and then execute. Then those entities map the results to act as an entities, and then it will create some stuffs inside the table. So then, if you wanted to know more about how the internal architecture work in entity framework, you can view this diagram. To be simple, we can provide our conceptual model using our object-oriented way, and all the heavy liftings will be taken care by the entity frameworks, like creating, mapping, relating the data, kind of stuffs. You just sit back and relax and just implement your productivity in your object-oriented way. So that's it. And to install entity framework, you need at least entity framework, Visual Studio 2010 or greater, and you should have support of installing NuGet, and it comes as a part of MVC Web Forms Web API templates if identity is used. So that's it. Let's begin. Let's stop talking. Let's dive into the code of Visual Studio. So here I open up console application in Visual Studio, and you should have I'm using Visual Studio 2015. I hope you guys also can use Visual Studio 2015 or 2017, whatever it may be. So I'm going to install the entity framework package. To install that, we can go to the NuGet package manager, and then we can search here for the entity framework, and just like this. And if you search for an entity framework, you can have the official entity framework by Microsoft, so you can install that, and it will add and install and add the packages, and it will ask entity framework.sql server kind of stuff. So this is the way to install the entity framework, and you can, if you don't want this stuff, you can easily uninstall inside the entity package NuGet package manager. You can also use package manager console to install entity framework, just like the code. So if you want to install the entity framework package inside of NuGet package manager console, you can use the command install package entity framework, and you can also install the pre-release version using the command called -pre, and you can uninstall the package using the command uninstall package entity framework, and you can also update entity framework package, and you can also update for all the projects inside a solution. Might be have more than 5 or 6 projects in a solution. You can update all the entity framework packages, and that's the commands. So this is the code first term, which means we can use a plain old class object, classes as entities. So this is the code where we can create a class which is a product. So what actually it means we are creating a table called product, and then we are creating a field which is a name, by our case it's product name, and another field which is called product category, and we are also creating a product DB context, which means a DB context. We'll talk about and we'll discuss more about these kind of stuffs, DB context and DB sets and the internal entity framework. We can discuss these stuffs in the diving deep module in the entity framework. First, you sit, relax, and then watch what I'm doing, and you'll get to know about everything that you should know about entity. I'm going to connect the database to our project. So for that, we should specify our server name, and then should select our database name. For let's test the connection and click OK, and you can see that our database is connected in our project. And I'm going to pin this over here, and then we can go over here into the connection string, and after that we'll just copy and we can make use of it very soon. Before that, I'm going to create a class, which means just before we see that we are going to implement the code first model. So for that, we are going to create a class with named as a product. Class of product. So what it will do, it will create and map and create a database. And before that, and I'm going to add an ID for that, and get and set public string product name, get, set, and the product category finally. So this is it. We created a class, which means it will map and generate a table inside the database. So the second thing that we are going to do is to create an instance object, just like, and I just need to create an instance. So this is it. I created my own object, and the second thing that I'm going to create is to creating a DB context, product DB context, and I'm going to inherit the database context over here. So if you don't get this, I already added the system dot entity namespace. If you don't have that, you get a red squiggly line, and if you click over the bulb like symbol, and you can get that. So that's the whole point. And then now I'm going to create a constructor which is going to which is actually used to connect use our connection string inside our context, DB context. So what actually I'm going to do is public, wait a minute, so public product DB context, it is a construct. So I'm going to base extend the base method. at, and inside of parameter I'm going to paste the connection string, and I'm going to close the file. So that's it, and now we're going to add the collection property db set. We'll discuss about these kind of internal stuffs in a later video. Yes, later video. So we're going to add the product and the products and get and set. So that's it. We are just going to add this object inside of our database. So for that I'm going to create an instance. Context is equal to new pro context will be a suitable name for that. Pro db context. Pro db context. Pro context dot products dot add pro in it. Here. Now I'm going to save the changes. Let's save changes, and let's save this and build this stuff. And I hope now it will create a table and store these data inside of it. Yes, it will create it. So let's check that out in SQL Server. So I'm going to refresh the SQL Server. So inside of this table I'm going to retrieve select. So it is running the query as yeah, here it is. It will automatically generate an ID. That's the magic of entity framework. And here is our stuffs. So we will discuss these stuffs very deeply in our next project. Next video. So until that, please stay tuned. To stay tuned, you need to subscribe our channel and share our channel to make a lot of cool videos and entertaining videos. If you have some feedbacks, please comment in our comment section and like, share, and if you wanted to get notified over every actions and every videos stuffs, and please click the notification button under our channel. So thank you.